Gammarino, ESPN and the college football playoff are now bowing to the Big 12 Conference as Mack Rhodes, athletic director of Baylor University, takes over as the board chair of the committee. He will be the one who is justifying why 9-3 Alabama will make it into the playoff over 11-2 Baylor next year, saying, well, we just thought strength of schedule. We just thought objectively the strength. My worry is, while the Big 12 now has like control at the very top with the board chair, he's going to be pulling his hair out while the rest of the committee still does what it wants to do. Do you think this is the moment the Big 12 retakes control of college football? Or is this just a puppet who's going to be used as anti-Big 12 propaganda?
I've gone way back and forth on this because we know Mack Rhodes. Like, he's a guy with conviction here. Baylor's not his only stop that he's been in college athletics, and it's not the only stop at a place that gets disrespected, like Houston, outside of Nissan commercials. Missouri. These teams are thought of as afterthoughts, and Mack Rhodes has raised the level in each of those athletic departments. But then again, the overarching thought I have, and the one that came to me as soon as I saw this news, was he's going to be like if the foreman of the jury thought OJ was guilty, but he's the one with the cameras in his face after they announce who's going to the college football playoff, and having to be like, well, with Alabama, the glove didn't fit. Like, he must have quit. Like, he's going to have to do that. I think it's good that you have a voice for the voiceless, so to speak, at the top, this silent majority that we have in the truck stop conference. But then again, it's like Mack's been on the committee the last couple of years, at least the last 1 year. And it didn't help then. But I'm hoping that having that guy at the top is just like, hey guys, here's what we can look at here. Here's how we missed on having a second Big 12 team last year. Like, I just think there is, like, maybe this is the eternal optimist in me, that there's just enough of a voice in that room from him that the Big 12 will at least be looked at differently. But we still don't even know. The age-old question is, what are they even looking for the college football playoff? Are they looking at strength of schedule? Are they looking at best teams? Are they looking at who's been the most battle tested? Like, we still don't know what that is.
Well, as a credentialed member of the Baylor media, I'm sure you could call Mack, or Matt Mosley could give Mack a ring. And that's going to be a very interesting weekly segment from now on with Mack on the show. Cam, let's talk best case, worst case. You said you've gone back and forth on this one.
Yeah.
The best case, is there a world where Mack Rhodes goes cojones on the table, burrito on the table, and says, here's what it's about to look like. We're going to respect everybody in college football, and he wins? Is that a viable, do you see that as a viable outcome to his appointment?
Yeah. Yeah. And so what that would look like is, all right, look this year, right? You have one group of 5 team in there in Boise State. You have 2 ACC teams, but really 1 ACC team, because the committee doesn't see Clemson as an ACC team. So SMU, Boise State, and 1 Big 12 team in Arizona State. So what that's going to take in the 12-team playoff is having 4 non-Big 10 SEC teams in there. So I definitely think that's possible. Best case scenario is 7-5 Baylor, narrowly missing out on the Big 12 championship game, is in the 12-team field. That's the best scenario with Mack Rhodes at the helm. So yeah, and this is where it comes, like, this is what we think of as Big 12 fans. Like, it doesn't take that much more for us to feel like there's respect. Like, if this year Iowa State or BYU got into 11-win teams, if one of those teams got in the playoff, I think Big 12 fans wouldn't have a lot to complain about going into the playoff or right now. But it's, again, it just feels like we're completely overlooked entirely. And so I think it doesn't take much for Mack Rhodes to kind of change the way that the Big 12 is viewed in that room. And for good measure, the ACC as well. Like, again, Clemson, they see them as just a bonus baby SEC team. They really don't see them as an ACC team, as evidenced by how often they get in. But I think it is going to be a good thing. That's where I've settled on, because it's not going to take that much more for us Big 12 fans to feel like there's some more respect.
Let's go worst case scenario, because Kirk Schultz was the commissioner. What do they even call this role? Are you the committee chair?
I think
commissioner. I get okay. So
they try to take the word head out of as much as possible.
Yeah, was the board chair for a year, and he was the athletic director at Washington State when that
you
all
can
went.
Head in a chair. You can get no. Sorry, go ahead.
There was remember what was the guy's name? University of Arkansas athletic director who was also. I think he was the first one, and then he went to Kansas, hired Les Miles, and both of them got fired.
John L. Smith.
No, close.
Who was that guy? Was he the AD at Arkansas?
No, he was the head football coach.
Yeah, baby.
It was the Arkansas AD that hired John. No, he got fired Jeff Long, right as John L. Smith was coming in. It was crazy.
Jeff Long.
And Long was the first one. And we had Kirk Schultz a couple of years ago, and Schultz was the president at Washington State. And it didn't help the Pac-12. He was just kind of like, sorry, guys, Alabama still exists. And then you had the guy last year, Ward Manuel, who is Michigan. And now it's, come on, we don't hate the Big 12. We just appointed one of your athletic directors who's been on the board as the chair. It feels like it's going to be Kirk Schultz. His university was falling apart as he was leading this committee of people. This feels more to me like, on the worst case scenario side, you've got a puppet in Mack Rhodes at the table who is going. I see it. 11-1 BYU, 11-2 Baylor, 11-2 Kansas State. He will have to sit on ESPN and justify against his own conference, whether he wants to or not. He'll have no choice.
Right. Yeah. This is the worst case scenario, and
coward.
Also
they'll call him a coward, guaranteed.
Colin Coward. Yes. The worst case scenario also is not that unrealistic from what we've seen in college football, right? Yeah. Like, would it's like, I don't think it's going to go that way, but would it stun anybody if Mack Rhodes becomes a puppet for the CFP committee? Like, no, I don't think so. The flip side would be, another forced Cam Stewart analogy would be like, remember the Titans? They're like, all right, we got to integrate the school. We'll have a token African-American coach, but then he's actually really good and lays down the law. Like, that's what it would be. Mack Rhodes being like, I'm your token guy, but I'm going to make your life hell. But it is going to be, if it comes to that, really embarrassing for everyone involved. If he's got to say, well, Kansas State only beat 2 ranked teams this year and 8-4 Auburn, look at their recruiting class. Like, if that's what it comes to, that's a failure on all levels for the Big 12 and for Baylor too. Like, that's a terrible look.
Now,
and by the way, I mean, Mack has been on this committee. There's all kinds of committees that the Baylor president, Linda Livingstone, is on, and it hasn't made the Big 12 much more respectable in the public eye already. So
that's where I was going next. Linda Livingstone's a part of a lot of these. There are Baylor administrators who are very active with the NCAA and active in college football. And I guess nationally, they have a fairly good name, but then you go locally inside the 4 walls at Baylor, and there are question marks about leadership in athletics the last few years.
And you know what? Like, I don't like taking such a pessimistic look at this, but I've thought this for a while, with having Mack and Linda on a lot of these boards with the NCAA and this national stuff. It's because Ann Richards is dead. Like, if this comes
she
to
would have been president, athletic director.
No, but if this comes to another situation where the conference dissolves and they're on the edge of like, who will we take into the next conference? There's no Ann Richards to lobby for them anymore. Yeah. And so this is almost like hey, we've scratched your back for so long. Look at all the committees we've been on. We've been a part of this whole process. You can't leave us out. We're at the table. So I do think there is some of that. I like Mack Rhodes as an AD. I understand that some Baylor fans are upset with the moves over the last couple of years. I get that. I think he's a great AD and has been in a couple different places. But he could really help us out here. He could really help us all out here.
That is Bill Gates' role now. He's the new Ann Richards at Baylor University. Bill Gates, big donor. Coming up, Josh Pate hates to love the Big 12. What does that mean? He doesn't talk about us, and he admitted that. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey. Crazy that our two sponsors today are Nissan and Supply House, because I own a Nissan, and Supply House is where I've gone because I just bought a house. At Supply House, I can get plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, all of my skilled trade stuff. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources, complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands. You'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it is your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.